What would happen if China launched an attack on a US aircraft carrier near Taiwan? It's one of the most dangerous flashpoints on Earth, and a single missile strike could trigger a chain reaction the world has never seen. Today, we're breaking down exactly what happens in the first minutes, the first hours, and the first days after such an attack. We'll explore China's strategy, America's response, and how fast this crisis could spiral into something far bigger. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell because we cover global security and geopolitics with the detail you won't find anywhere else. 1. The spark, China's first move. An attack on a US carrier wouldn't happen out of the blue. It would almost certainly come during a major Chinese military operation, like a blockade of Taiwan or an attempt to seize outlying islands. China's strategy focuses on anti-access area denial, or a 2/AD, basically preventing US forces from getting close to the conflict zone. At the heart of this strategy are its so-called carrier killer missiles, DF-21D, medium range, Mach 10 during terminal phase, DF-26, longer range, can strike targets out to around 4,000 kilometers. China would launch these missiles in salvos, dozens, possibly hundreds, because US carriers are protected by layers of advanced defenses. In a real scenario, China's first move might be a large missile barrage, followed by cyber attacks to blind US command systems and satellite jamming to disrupt GPS and carrier navigation. 2. The US response in the first minutes. A US carrier strike group is one of the most heavily defended objects on Earth. So the moment China's missiles rise off their launch pads, US early warning satellites detect the infrared plumes. The alert goes out within seconds. Missile launch, possible ballistic threat, all stations brace for impact. Here's what happens next. Layer 1. Aegis destroyers shoot first guided missile destroyers, escorting the carrier fire SM-3 or SM-6 interceptors to shoot down incoming threats outside the atmosphere or in mid-course. Layer 2. Carrier-based defenses engage. If anything gets through, CRAM, CIWS, Gatling guns, electronic warfare jammers all fire simultaneously. The sky becomes a battlefield of streaking interceptors, exploding boosters, and metal raining into the ocean. Possible outcome? Most simulations show the US would intercept many, but not all, incoming missiles. Even a single hit on the carrier, especially on the flight deck, could render it combat ineffective. And if a direct hit sinks or cripples a US carrier, that leads to something far more serious. 3. The first hour. Washington decides whether this means war. A US aircraft carrier is not just a ship. It's a floating city, home to 5,000 Americans and a strategic symbol of US global power. Retaliating with force, risking major war, trying to de-escalate, risking looking weak, launching limited military strikes, hoping China stops. 4. The first day. The US counterstrike. The US has multiple ways to strike China quickly. Option 1. Submarine-launched attacks. US nuclear submarines in the region could fire. Tomahawk cruise missiles, hypersonic weapons. If deployed in this timeline, targets would include missile launch sites, radar stations, command centers, naval bases on the Chinese coast. Option 2. Carrier air-wing retaliation. If the damaged carrier is still afloat but not functional, other carriers or allied bases step in. 5. China's counter-strike. Opening phase of a regional war. If China attacked once, it likely planned for the US response. China could respond by expanding strikes to US bases in Japan and Guam. 6. What about Taiwan? Ironically, a direct US-China clash over a carrier might temporarily shift focus away from Taiwan itself. Full invasion, island-hopping operations, air and missile bombardment. 7. Can this escalate into nuclear conflict? This is the question everyone wants to avoid. Neither Washington nor Beijing wants nuclear war. But whenever two nuclear superpowers fight directly, the risk is real. Most likely, both sides would draw a red line. No strikes deep inside each other's homeland. No attacks on nuclear missile silos. No attempt to collapse the other's government. 8. How would the world react? Within 24 hours, global markets crash. Oil prices spike, shipping lanes shut down. The UN calls an emergency meeting. 9. The most likely reality. Despite all the military hardware and political tension, experts widely agree on one thing. China is extremely unlikely to attack a US aircraft carrier first. Why? Because it would almost guarantee a direct war with the United States, and neither country wants that. If you found this breakdown informative, hit like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more deep dives into global conflict, geopolitics, and military strategy. Tell us in the comments, do you think such a clash is inevitable or avoidable? Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.